Thanks for joining us on our comic book coffee break. I'm Nick Gunning.
I'm Eric Mickles, known online as Dust vs. Tweak.
Eric, today I'm drinking Pure Roast Coffee Breakfast Blend. It's black, it's on ice. I like it. My wife hates it. So a little bit of division within our marriage over this coffee.
She considers herself the coffee connoisseur of your marriage, especially, though, right?
Oh, she definitely is.
Like,
yeah.
you like your coffee, and I've been with you where you need your coffee, but she's the coffee, like, expert.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Before we got married, I would get like gas station cappuccinos and stuff, but to just like have coffee, no.
At home,
it was
yeah.
So
did she introduce you to the whole like blend it yourself and like grind the coffee beans yourself?
Yeah.
All right. That's because like you just know it. Like I would have never known that you didn't know how to.
Well, we've been married a very long time. Yeah. What do you got in your mug there today?
Water. I got water in my Spider-Man mug.
Huh. Thwip.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Just needed water. I had a Pepsi earlier. I had a Pepsi for breakfast.
Yeah.
Which is probably bad, but you know what?
Pepsi for breakfast?
I don't know. You had coffee. Is it any better for your teeth and or heart than Pepsi?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Mine's I also had my Pepsi black on ice.
Okay.
Though I guess Pepsi's more of like a like noxious brown kind of thing.
True. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, and can really like. Oh my gosh! Can I share something with you?
I guess
a very first world problem.
Oh, okay.
We keep getting Pizza Hut from this pizza place, and I keep asking for Pepsi, and every time I keep getting something other than Pepsi. Sometimes I get the thing like we didn't have Pepsi, so we refunded you. That's fine. Sometimes I get we didn't have Pepsi, so I brought you a Sierra Mist, and I'm like, in what world?
Yeah,
is that a fair exchange?
That's no good. What's happened most recently?
Yesterday we did it, and they brought it, and I saw the Pepsi, and I was so excited. I'm like, all right, they brought me a Pepsi. I pull it out further from the bag, Pepsi Wild Cherry. If I wanted Pepsi Wild Cherry, I would have ordered a Dr. Pepper. Thank you. Yeah. And if I wanted Dr. Pepper, I would have just drank cough syrup.
Listen, I love Dr. Pepper. While we're talking about this, all the Pizza Huts near me are closed. And we were really like, I want Pizza Hut. So we drove like an hour plus to get some Pizza Hut. And it was the worst Pizza Hut I've ever had. It tasted like gas station pizza. I don't know what was happening.
Yeah, Pizza Hut is going downhill. It
was very disappointing.
I think if I weren't married, I might stop Pizza Hut.
I see.
So she loves it. I still like it, but their pizza, it has been not great. And every time we order breadsticks, it
Little
has been
Caesars, great. Yeah, the breadsticks were bad too. I haven't had Little Caesars Crazy Bread since 1998.
Oh man, I broke my heart.
I would eat that right now.
That Pizza Hut Pepsi problem, more first world problem, came after I ordered Buffalo Wild Wings like the day before for myself. I was like, I'm gonna get Buffalo Wings. I've got the house to myself. Here come these Buffalo Wings. And I had boneless wings because I actually did order boneless wings by accident.
Dummy.
It's not the same thing.
So you had some adult chicken nuggets delivered to your house in the middle of the day?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't the middle of the day. It was night. It was my nighttime food.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
I was just sad. None of this is on topic. Yeah, this show is brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network and Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yay!
Do you want
They're not a sponsor.
Fine, okay wings, depending on your taste?
No.
Lots of places serve them.
Do they have veggie wings yet? Do they have vegetarian wings at Buffalo Wild Wings?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Look for me next time.
All right, yeah.
All right.
They're just raising a bunch of asparagus outside and then clipping the wings.
Yep, exactly.
You can find more about the show notes at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com. Hey, you don't have to read what the shows are anymore. We got too many. I've been cutting them out now.
Oh.
I already gave your co-host of 9021 Here We Go, a 90210 rewatch podcast hosted by a 9021 expert and a 9021 novice, the go-ahead on that. So I figure just like, share which ones you're on if you want. Like you can find me at the 902 thing. It's just so long. Me explaining this is how long it would have taken just to read them.
I was just going to say, we could have just talked about them. Well, I did have specific questions related to these, so I'm going to ask you anyway.
Okay.
As the overlord of the Radio Meanwhile Network, do you have plans for some Halloween specials coming up?
Radio 64 is definitely going to do a Halloween special for sure.
Okay.
It's hard with X-Men because they haven't done too many horror themes. And the one that's a total ripoff of
some X-Men Draculas.
Yeah, that's true. There's some X-Men Draculas. And then 90210, where are you now? Aren't you like in almost summer vacation for them? But you've done Halloween.
Yeah, but We've covered the Halloween episodes. We always record them separately and then put them in a Halloween playlist so you can listen to them like sort of a standalone. But this year we're doing a special. We're going to be covering Luke Perry in Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a special Halloween episode.
Smart.
Yep.
I was trying to find like 90s Halloween songs, but there really isn't a lot. It's too bad. I guess it depends on if you want to listen to like Zombie by the Cranberries, but that's like a political song, or Enter Sandman. So I guess Michael Jackson did Ghost back then. So.
There you go. What about a Three Nice Things? You've never done like a horror or something like that for Halloween?
We did Doom.
Doom. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
well, we got a 90210 Halloween special coming for you, so keep an eye out for that. All right, let's talk comic books, my man.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's only talk comic books from this point on. No more Cougar Town. No more.
That's true.
Pepsi. No more.
Yeah.
Whatever. The other stuff. Comics. Only comics.
Okay. Your effort to speed it along keeps adding time. I don't know if you're aware of that, but you're working against yourself.
Hey, I've had a very light week. For comics.
Okay.
So I'm mainly going to be asking questions and nodding along as you talk about your comics.
Okay.
So think of this as more like the late show, and you're my guest.
Okay.
And I'm like, so what have you been reading? Tell us what you've been reading?
Sure. Let me dig in here.
Yeah.
Well, it is. We're currently in the midst of. That's you being a good host there.
Yeah.
Trying to get that in. We're in the midst of Hispanic Heritage Month right now. And I thought it would be a fun exercise to go and only read comic books with Hispanic characters in the lead.
Uh-huh. And so you're not reading any Marvel or DC comics. Oh, I got them.
Yeah. You know what? The thing is, like, it's taken a bit of research to, like, be able to fill it out. But I kind of appreciate it because I've been able to, I'm reading things that I would not be reading otherwise. Mm-hmm. And one in particular I was very impressed with and look forward to talking about. Let's talk Marvel for a minute. So I've been reading Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. I just read Ultimate Comics Spider-Man Volume 3. The problem here in this is that we've only had 3 volumes so far, and it's felt like each one has been a step down. You read these.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, I read this one.
Okay. The problem with this is that most of the issues, like we resolved the stuff with Miles's Uncle Aaron, and then we get kind of wrapped up in the Ultimates crossover. Divided We Stand? Divided We... I don't know.
Oh, that's all over the place. Okay. Sure, yeah. With Sentinels.
It's a whole Ultimate... Yes. It's an Ultimate Universe crossover with X-Men and the Ultimates, I guess is what they're called, and Miles. I'm not familiar, really, with those other titles, like, at all. I've never read the Ultimates. I've only read a little bit of Ultimate X-Men. And so, like, only being, like, 10 issues into this series, to have Miles suddenly be... Like, we go from him dealing with, like, fallout from his uncle, like, finding out his secret, to, like, Washington, D.C. has fallen. The Avengers are... it's just, like... It's so jarring.
Yeah, this is Volume 3.
It is,
yeah. I gave it 3 stars. Okay.
But, if you're familiar with what was going on in the Ultimate Universe, maybe it'd be good. But to read this just as Miles Morales Volume 3... Not particularly fun.
Do you think I read it in order because I had decided to finish Ultimate or go back to Ultimate X-Men. I had left it after Brian K. Vaughan had left.
Okay.
So I went back and read the Robert Kirkman stuff, and then I just kind of kept going. I read all the stuff. I read Ultimatum, which was absolutely horrendous, one of the worst things I've ever read in my life. But then I just kept going, and that meant Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, and so I think I was on the Marvel app, just going between the issues reading them in order. It's not a great storyline. I remember it's a little bloated, and it's hard because you do stop caring what's happening in the Ultimate Universe, even though that stuff is happening. So
yeah, so this didn't really do it for me. I considered, because there was a checklist of like, to read this storyline, follow this, and I considered reading it all, but I was like,
I think you still would have been a little lost, because there's still you would have had the X-Men are in a crazy place at that time. The Ultimates, I mean, you've never read them, so it's just when they're talking about their characters, you're like, who's what?
This is just a frustration of mine. I don't think that you should be, when you're doing collections, I understand when the thought process is like, let's be completists, let's get every issue in there. I would much rather have had volume 3 be the first 2 issues dealing with his uncle, and then just give me a page of like, there was a divided we stand situation. Here's what happened to Miles. And then just pick up the story, because this was just blarf. But anyway.
Yeah.
I also think 13 is just too young. Having Miles be 13, I think is just really pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just like a straight up child.
Okay. I mean, you're a fan of every Robin.
No, I know that. I know, and that is goofy. And Robin hasn't been, besides Damian. But the thing is, like, it's just Miles. He's not working with somebody else. There's no like guidance or anything. It's just Miles, and I just feel like even 14, like 14, 15, 16, I buy. 13 just feels like this is literally a child. Like, he could be at sleepaway camp right now. This is a child. One thing that I think every week I forget to mention is I like, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I feel like there's a lot of references to the number 42, including the spider who bit Miles was the 42nd like experiment in the lab. So when you see that little spider body, it has a 42 etched in the back of it. 42 is Jackie Robinson's number. And I have to sort of feel like that's an allusion, an allusion to Jackie Robinson, being the first black player to integrate like the regular leagues. And I feel like they're doing a little something with that, where Miles is really the first black character to have that marquee title, like a Spider-Man or Batman or Superman or whatever. I mean, it really, I think that's a big deal. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I feel like 42 has come up enough that it's got to be some subtle nod to Jackie Robinson. Do you think?
Maybe. I mean, unless it's a Hitchhiker's Guide reference. I don't know where to give Bendis the benefit of the doubt or credit where credit's due or anymore. Okay. So, yeah, that'd be interesting. I can't remember 42 being a thing, but I guess it was there.
Well, I mean, it is on the Spider, but it's come up a few other times. So,
all right. So you read Ultimate Spider-Man Comics, or Ultimate Comics Spider-Man?
I did.
Or Spider-Man Ultimate Comics, or Spider-Man Comics Ultimate.
Whatever you want to call it. Yep.
Man, the Ultimates was as must-see TV as comics got for me when that was out. I was subscribed to that every month when that came, and it was delayed, but every time it came in, especially Volume 2 with the murder mysteries, I was in it, and I'd be rereading it trying to solve this mystery. And like, who is this? Whose hand was that? Oh my gosh, it was that was like, that was appointment comic book.
Yeah. So, I'm not counting this against Miles Morales that he got tangled up in this crossover, because that's just so commonplace. Yeah. So I am planning on continuing
Perhaps
to read
the crossover got tangled up in his web.
Oh, thwip.
Yeah.
I'm just looking here online, and Insider has an article, and it's an interview with the director of the film, Peter Ramsey, who says 42 was Jackie Robinson's jersey number for the Brooklyn Dodgers. He was a barrier-smashing black superhero in baseball, and Miles is a color-smashing black superhero in Spider-Man comics. So at least the movie interpreted it that way.
Yeah.
Over on the DC side of things, I've been reading Jaime Reyes's Blue Beetle, and I finished the New 52 run of that, which didn't really end. Having Jaime just like lost in space, saying that it will finish in a series called Threshold. So I read Threshold, Volume 1 by Keith Giffen, Tom Rainey. Not a huge fan of Keith Giffen, I gotta say.
Yeah.
He often works with J.M. DeMatteis. I don't know. I just have rarely liked his stuff.
Isn't he the International Justice League International?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one punch, right? The whole wow, hit him with one punch.
Yeah.
The guy. Okay.
But this was just. I think really this just wasn't for me. It felt like a 90s Image Comics, like, to the extreme. The look of it, the style of it, and it's kind of a cool concept. It's kind of a cool concept because it follows the protagonist is like kind of a rogue Green Lantern / undercover Green Lantern who's just kind of like getting kicked around these spaceports and stuff. Blue Beetle comes into it when he's been captured, and it feels very Mojo Vision to me, where he is forced to kind of be in like a Hunger Games-esque show for these people. And something's happened to the Scarab where when he's asleep or when he's not actively controlling it, he kind of loses time and the scarab takes over.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was interesting to be grappling with. But the series just is not about that at all. Like he's a very, very minor character in it. And it ends on sort of what happens next for Jaime? Nothing is the answer. Like we don't see him again until the rebirth of Blue Beetle title. So I don't really recommend it. I New 52 Blue Beetle was fine, but because it never quite finds its footing and because it doesn't resolve, I would say you're probably better off reading the earlier one, which I've heard good things about, but I haven't read.
The post Infinite Crisis.
Yes, yeah, that seems to be the one that people like, and certainly the one that lasted the longest.
Right.
So that's probably the place to go.
I was disappointed because when I was looking up the cover for this, I saw cover 3, and it had the Green Lantern carrot, the rabbit. And I thought it was Bucky O'Hare for a brief second. And I was like, Nick's been reading a Bucky O'Hare comic?
That'd be fun. That would be fun.
Let's crocus some toads.
Anyway. All right, that's that. You want to tell me one of the ones you read?
The one thing I read?
The one, hit me.
I cannot tell you why this happened. A lot of things just took over my time, I guess. Other things. I've been in kind of a low place emotionally and mentally and all this other stuff. So I ended up just watching a lot of the first season of Cougar Town to just I went to bed. I opened Twitter and within 2 minutes I'm like, I gotta go watch Cougar Town. So I had to get out of bed and go watch TV.
It's a weird need. I've never heard that need.
Well, I just needed the sitcom in me.
I get it.
But so yeah, I've been watching some movies. I've been playing some games and doing this other stuff. But I've been reading The Question, Dennis O'Neill's The Question, and actually I'm rereading this because I had read the first 2 volumes, so I have read the first 12 issues.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was rereading the issues 7 through 12 this week, and thank goodness I had to go to the DMV, and I was at the DMV for about 2 hours or so. Wow. At least the whole thing took, maybe it was an hour. I don't remember. It was a long time. I don't know how I used to go to DMVs and those other places without comic books on my phone. Yeah. Because the fact that I could just sit there and read The Question on my phone was like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. It's just a weird book. This one kind of does a trippy storyline about like somebody trying to solve the whole alchemist thing where you can turn something into gold, and in the process this guy will stop being like a horrible serial killer monster who just tortures children and everybody, and he'll become like an angel.
Wow.
And it just felt like Dennis O'Neill had this story, but also he was writing The Question at the time. So the stuff around it, it's hard not to shake off a lot of the Watchmen influence. It's hard not to see what Dennis O'Neill is going for. But I mean, he was also just doing a lot of that kind of like real world issues and political kind of stuff in his comics beforehand. Like he wasn't a stranger to that. Like Watchmen didn't introduce him to that. So it's just an interesting book. The Question himself. Vic Sage, whose full name turns out to be like Victor Zaz almost. Like the spelling is different. Like the letters are switched around. But when you look at it, it looks like his whole name is Victor Zaz. I was like, what the crap? I went on Reddit and somebody else was talking about it. Like, did you notice that some of the spelling is different, but it looks like Victor Zaz? And somebody's like, yeah, but the spelling's different. He's like, that's why I obviously said that the spelling was different. I'm like, oh, right, I gotta get out of this. But anyway, yeah, Vic Sage, he's a loon. He's crazy. I mean, he's like a news reporter with like the worst 80s hair in the world. These 80s like locks, like not even a mullet, but it's just grown up. And then he's The Question and he's cool. Right. But he's also kind of bizarre. I don't know. He was trained by, was it Shiva? He was trained by one of like the DC ninja ladies. That's there. I think it was Shiva.
That makes sense.
So he's just, I don't know. It's just a weird book.
Where someone as unstable as Lady Shiva, she sure is dedicated to teaching.
Yeah, right? She's always teaching somebody.
She is, yeah.
Denny's Cohen is the illustrator, and his art really helps elevate a lot of this stuff up.
Those do have a really specific look to them, I remember.
Yeah. A lot of the, he uses like a gas to put the mask on and take the mask off, and there's always that kind of like smoke and vapor around him as he's doing that. that looks very cool.
It always feels to me very like that art from Chinatown.
A little bit.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, like the poster. Yeah, the cover. Yes. Totally.
The covers of the graphic novel collection.
Yeah.
It must be purposeful. You know, because they really do share a lot of connections there. I unlocked the question in Lego Batman Volume 3 on Xbox.
Hey, yeah,
Is that interesting?
If with what you're doing for Hispanic Heritage Month, after Infinite Crisis or like right before, Montoya becomes the question,
I remember that.
and that's the character they chose for the Birds of Prey movie was Montoya as the question.
Yep.
So which I thought was a weird addition to the Birds of Prey, but they're just so against including Barbara Gordon in any Birds of Prey material outside of the comics. So
it's true.
It's so funny because like the video games love using Oracle. The comics liked Oracle. They liked the concept.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things like using Oracle, but the movies and all these, they're just always so hesitant because they're just like, oh wait, we want to save Batgirl for something else. I'm like, well, you never do. So now, like Justice League Unlimited couldn't use her. But
there was a really cool episode of the Batman that was set in the future, and Batman was portrayed as sort of a Frank Miller-y, the design anyway, looked like that, and Robin was Nightwing, and Barbara Gordon was Oracle. And it was one of the have we seen a cartoon Oracle like outside of that? Besides like the Killing Joke,
Barbara Gordon wasn't allowed in Justice League, so Barbara Gordon was only in Batman Beyond afterwards, and she was the commissioner.
Right.
Which is also a cool way to go. But anyways, Montoya became the question, and then she was in the Birds of Prey movie. So
I remember that. Yeah, I had that on the list.
I don't know.
But anyway.
Yeah, go ahead. You were playing Lego 3.
I was just going to talk about Lego Batman 3. Have you played all the Lego games?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't even think... we haven't even finished Star Wars Lego.
Oh, okay.
We've played the first four?
I'm a fan of the Lego Batman games. I hadn't played one in a really long time. But I got it on Xbox for my son and I to play, and we did. You know, we played them all together. And it had some cool like DLCs that you could get. So we played through all those. There was like
Adam West.
Adam West is in this one. Yeah, okay. Each level you can save Adam West. You can, after we beat the game, we unlocked a special Batman 66 episode, which was cool. You know, you could play like 2 levels in the Batman 66 style. So that was a good time.
Is there ever a thing where you press A and Lego Batman starts dancing?
Actually, that's kind of how it goes. It does a lot of the things that you would expect it to, but only Adam West does the voice, which is kind of sad. None of the other characters speak, even Robin. And I feel like Burt Ward would have cashed that check and shown up.
Sure, yeah.
But anyway, Lego Batman 3 really should be called like the Green Lantern Corps, because it's that's what it is. I mean, it's the whole story is Green Lantern, and you're working through each of the color spectrum is a level. So as a Green Lantern fan, I thought that was a lot of fun to go to like the rescue Saint Walker on like the blue homeworld and all that. It was a lot of fun. So my son and I had a good time playing that game.
They do that a lot. I mean, Assault on Arkham is called Batman Assault on Arkham, but it's
what sells.
It's a Suicide Squad movie. And now, like today, if that movie had come out, it would be called Suicide Squad. Definitely. And I feel like if they rebrand it, you should just call it Suicide Squad. But
I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't re-released that like they did with like Wonder Woman, the Kerry Russell one. They did like a new version of it. Yeah, I mean, just give it a new title, you know. Yeah. But anyway, that's what I played. Let's move back to Marvel for a minute. I finished out the Araña series. So I read volumes 2 and 3. This is by Fiona K. Avery, Roger Cruz illustrations. This is such an odd book. It starts in Amazing Fantasy. That's what volume 1 is. And again, these were coming out in the digest size at this time. The digest size were like huge. It was kind of an odd... It feels very not Marvel. Like it feels very, very separate. And she spends a lot of time teamed up with this, I don't know, sort of an immortal. I feel like he's immortal. I don't know. Spider.
That's the presence he has. That's the that's how confident he is. You just look at him and you.
I mean, he wears a long coat.
Yeah.
So you know.
Man, that guy is immortal. If any hunk of man has been immortal, it's that guy.
But I sort of feel like that like her partnering up with Miguel is the character's name is
Uh-huh.
kind of a weakness of the book because it's not interesting, and it gives you a lot of that. Stylistically, the art looks a lot like Ultimate Spider-Man in the
Mhm.
little like interludes,
Oh,
where it'll
sure.
be like to be continued, or it's
Yeah.
giving you like the location of where you are.
Yeah.
It's very, very
You mean Mark Bagley's art
maybe,
from like
but
the original Ultimate Spider-Man.
yeah, it looks a lot like that. It's
Yeah.
pulling, I feel like, a lot of influences there, and like I said, the format of it shares a lot with Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, Mark
In
Bagley.
issue, yeah,
No, you just don't like Mark Bagley's art. I remember he
that's
went over
correct.
to Batman. He did that Two-Face story with Dick Grayson as Batman,
Oh,
and you were not a fan.
I
You don't
guess
like his
not.
art. You think it's too
Okay,
sketchy.
there we go. Anyway, it feels like you're reading something that's not really connected to the Marvel universe, and then in issue 4, Spider-Man shows up,
Hey!
and it's really bizarre because it's not Ultimate Spider-Man. It's like fully grown J. Michael Straczynski Spider-Man, and so it's just
Yeah.
really
Well, she's not in the
confusing.
Ultimate Universe. She's like
No, I know
mainline.
she's not. I know, but like at this point, it's really just these like digest things that are pretty separate. So yeah, it's the JMS Spider-Man, which does make sense because that was all about like mystical spider powers and the
Right.
spider totem and everything. So it's referencing that specifically. But I just felt like tonally it was really jarring.
Yeah, she kind of disappeared. I don't remember the last time I've seen her around. Um, and then right after she was the first 6 issues of Amazing Fantasy.
Yes,
So then Scorpion was
right.
created by
Fred
Fred
Van
Van
Lente.
Lente.
Yep.
And I feel like she had a longer lifespan, but I don't think she's been around in a long time since maybe like the Gauntlet storyline by in the Spider-Man comics.
Well, I know that she gets her own title which is more properly set in the Marvel universe in 2010,
Who?
which is just called Araña.
Oh, okay.
Which is just called Spider Girl. Like she's a more
Mm-hmm.
traditional like Spider
Hmm.
Girl. Because here, when she uses when she
Oh,
like
yeah, look at this. She's been in Spider-Verse and everything. All right, you know what?
yeah,
Maybe I just wasn't picking up on it when she was there.
when she like gives in to the hunter, she she gets kind of decked out, and it's a more like Power Ranger-y vibe than a Spider Girl vibe. But she does have a 2010 series just called Spider Girl, and then she's part of the whole Spider Island, situation. And there's a 3-issue series there. So I finished this era, and it winds down like the title ends, and then there's a special that's like a year later that's Spider-Man and Araña, which kind of concludes the series.
Yeah, she's in a book called Web Warriors,
Okay.
which has a bunch of spider characters, like Gwen and Noir and stuff. Kind of another Spider Verse thing. So
It's I feel like one of the complaints that I would have would be that it kind of it feels like it's weighted down by the mythology that they're trying to put on it. So much so that it's like you hardly have time to really tell a story because you're doing so much. Like, here's what the hunter means. Here's what, the spider powers mean. It's just a little too much on a series to be for as light as it is. So it's
mm-hmm.
tonally, I think, kind of struggles. But it's a 3-volume series that was collected over that covers Amazing Fantasy and then the
Yeah.
Araña issues.
Bring Scorpion
And
back.
I think it's worth a read.
Yeah.
I had a good time with it. It's not something I would have like picked up outside of this, but I'm glad I did because I wasn't familiar with the character, and it was interesting to see a different side of when Spider-Man shows up, he's like, so radioactive spider, and she's like, no, it's a whole spider mythology totem, and he's like, weird, okay,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different take on things.
I read The Question by Dennis
Yeah,
O'Neil.
you mentioned.
Okay, yeah,
You did
that's
mention
it.
that.
That's it.
Yep. Okay. I read Vibe over on DC. I read Vibe. Volume 1,
10
volume
issues?
only.
Yeah.
10 issues. Written by Jeff Johns, Pete Woods. Other creative teams kind of take it over, but that's what kicked it off.
He in New 52, he was part of the Justice League of America that was formed kind of
Yes.
early into the New 52 run. It was like the government sponsored Justice League.
Yes. Yep.
So
exactly.
Was he played in that comic as kind of like young and feeling like over his head? Was he that character? Like wow, look at Hawkman?
No.
No, okay.
Not really. Not really.
I don't remember any of that book.
Sorry, I just mean in this standalone title. He's
Oh,
not really
okay.
played that way. It was surprising to me because my knowledge of Vibe probably began with those DC Nation shorts,
Yeah, Vibe.
which were very funny, and then the
Gosh.
character in the CW in the Arrowverse, the Cisco Ramon Vibe character,
Mm-hmm.
also really kind of comic relief, and so it was kind of like this book lacked a center because Cisco in this is just really dry, I find. They don't really give you enough of his personality to really like be compelled to follow the character.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an interesting relationship with his older brother, where his older brother's kind of a loser and has always taken advantage of him, and so he has this weird like obligation because it's his older brother that he struggles with. That I thought was interesting, but the character is just very like dry toast kind of character. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't really think they gave it 10 issues, and they probably knew what at like issue 8 that they're done. So, I don't know that they had a huge amount of time to really establish the story, but I didn't find it particularly interesting.
He's playable in Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham.
Really?
He's voiced by D. Bradley Baker.
Okay. I did, after we finished that, I did go and I unlocked the question. I unlocked Batgirl. I unlocked Ace the Bat Hound. And I unlocked Kevin Smith, who's a playable character in Lego Batman 3.
Sure.
Voiced by Kevin Smith, of course. Anyway, so
gosh.
Vibe, I just feel like if you're coming to Vibe from the Arrowverse, I think you're going to be pretty let down by this take on the character. I don't really have much positive to say about it because I think even the powers are very cool and just were not played well in this. So thumbs down.
I do not remember where I first saw Vibe. Maybe he was in Justice League Unlimited, but I don't think he ever had like any speaking roles.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Vibe.
My final thing that I read this week, I read both volumes of Sideways. So Sideways volumes 1 and 2. This is a 12-issue series plus an annual.
Oof.
So 13 issues. Dan DiDio, Kenneth Rocafort. This is part of this new age of heroes that's coming out post Dark Knight's Metal.
The Marvel thing. The DC doing
Pretty
Marvel
much.
Heroes thing.
Basically.
This is their Spider-Man, it looks like.
Well, the cover would imply that, but I actually don't think the inside really plays that out. The reviews of this are pretty terrible. Like if you look at Goodreads or something, they're not positive at all.
Uh-huh.
And I'm actually a little surprised by that because I found it very intriguing. I thought it was good. Again, I don't really think they gave it the time that it needed because this is my constant frustration with DC is that it is impossible, I feel like,
Sideways.
to just pick up a volume 1 and have it make sense to you.
Uh-huh.
Because I read maybe one volume of Dark Knight's Metal, one issue.
Uh-huh.
I read The Batman Who Laughs, and I don't care for it. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
Both this and the Terrifics really are pulling a lot from that, but they don't do it.
Well, maybe I do remember the Terrifics and Dark Knight Metal. Boy, I don't remember anything from Dark Knight Metal.
The problem is they don't do anything to like welcome a new reader. So if you haven't read Dark Knight's Metal, by the time you get to the second half of these issues, it becomes a very convoluted story because you're just dealing with the dark multiverse, but you're not given any kind of introduction on it. And so it gets a little weighty there because you're like, what is this? What does this mean? And it really kind of slows the story down. But ultimately what this is about, I feel like I have to spoil things in this. Do you want to throw up our...
Yeah, I threw up the spoiler tag. I certainly don't care. I can't imagine I'm ever going to read this. Spoiler tag! If you're watching this and you don't want to hear spoilers, mute it until the spoilers tag is down. This has been a spoilers warning spoiler tag.
Thank you.
Warning.
Thank
spoilers.
You. The premise of this is that Derek is a Puerto Rican kid who is adopted very late.
No spoilers.
As a teenager, and he's pretty close with his mother, but his father is more like going along with the adoption and not super invested in what's going on. Derek was kind of sucked into this whole Dark Knight's Metal situation, and when he wakes up from that, has this power to not teleport, but like open rifts that will essentially teleport him to places that he wants to go. And he doesn't really know like how that happened. It just sort of happens, and then he's kind of like he's messing around like being a YouTube star or whatever, and just doing like dumb kid stuff. But it becomes pretty interesting because you're following like his mother, who kind of knows that something's going on, and she's involved in something else. And so you're following both of the characters, and they're not communicating with each other. And I don't know, it's just really interesting. Some characters from the dark multiverse show up, and it's a meta reference where he's like, I don't, suddenly I have this like reject from a Kirby comic coming after me, which is funny because it does look like a reject from a Kirby comic. Mm-hmm. But then later, like Mr. Miracle shows up, who's a Kirby creation, and it's just kind of like it straddles a weird line. He also makes a lot of comments about like how you'd be talking in a comic book, which I always think is stupid. So set those things aside.
He sounds so irreverent.
I know. Volume 2 gets a little quirky because you get a lot of the mythology of the Dark Knight's metal and all that, and it's kind of like blah. Gets a little confusing. Then something that I don't understand at all happens, where he frees Superman, but it's like the Grant Morrison T-shirt Superman, and I don't really understand. They don't explain like why that. I don't understand it. I don't understand why that happens. But his mother is, spoiler, here it comes. His mother is murdered, and just as she's figuring things out. But there's a lot of like mysteries around that. And he has this little statue that she gave him. And it sort of seems like she is maybe still alive somehow. I don't know. So Sideways by the end has pretty much legitimately become a superhero and has kind of mastered these problems. And he kind of thwarts the dark multiverse from taking over, but can also sort of use the dark multiverse. The bottom line is, I think this is actually a good series. And I think even though it ends prematurely, it does have two pretty satisfying arcs, and it leaves you with a but what next kind of situation. So I think you definitely could read it as is. But I do feel like they should have given it more time because it's cool, it's interesting, it's compelling, it's different. And I'm sad that it's as short as it is, because I do think that it's good despite some of its weirdness. Somewhere along the way, I feel like that philosophy of this comic book could be someone's first comic book just completely went by the wayside, to the point where at least Marvel gives you a recap at the start of each issue, whereas right. DC is just like, well, I hope you've been reading for the last 40 years because here we go, you know.
Which is funny since this is part of like, post New 52 and everything.
Exactly. Yes, and this is like this whole new age of heroes. You should be able to pick up.
This is issue 1. Yeah.
And like if they want to tie it so closely to Dark Knight's metal, fine, but just give me a little bit to kind of catch me up to speed. I don't think that would be that hard, but they don't do it.
I read Denny O'Neil's The Question.
Yeah, so you mentioned.
Well, what I didn't mention is this was volume 2, so it's Poison Ground, if you're looking for it. There you go, Poison Ground. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, anyway, it's weird. It's kind of watch many.
So I'm
on my phone a little bit at the DMV.
I heard, yeah. I'm sad that Sideways is over. Next week, I've been looking at some different things I want to read. I'll probably be picking up Blue Beetle Rebirth.
Are you going to watch the movie?
Blue Beetle?
Sideways? With Paul Giamatti and Thomas Hayden Church?
I don't think that's connected.
Really?
No, I think that's about sad people making wine. I don't think it has anything to do with the
Is
kid
that what it's about?
The dark multiverse.
I thought it was about like a road trip.
I have no idea.
A bunch of people feeling old and going on a road trip.
I can't tell you. I don't know.
Was that Leaving Las Vegas?
Know. Could be.
Is Kevin Costner just very hard to look at? Every time I see him, I'm like, it's like looking at a trash can.
Kevin Costner. Wow.
Who got to be in a lot of movies.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. He looks like Oscar the Grouch, but minus the Muppet.
Wow. I didn't realize. So when you don't read comic books, you resort to body shaming Kevin Costner.
If I could, yeah. Okay. If somehow my body shaming of Kevin Costner stops him from being in movies, then you'll
do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop being in movies, Kevin Costner.
What's on your to read list?
You look like a Muppet Jim Henson made after a bender, and he hadn't wiped the cocaine off his hands.
He's like, I don't know what I was thinking with this one, but put it in the closet.
How many Muppets do you think Jim Henson made that he actually counts as like, oh gosh, this is a monster?
A lot.
And they're just in there like...
You do not want to go in Jim Henson's basement.
Feed me!
Do you have series that you're planning to get into next week?
Yeah, I'm gonna get into the film universe of Sideways.
Okay. All right.
No, I mean, there was just stuff I kept meaning to read, and I just didn't. The question, since it's older and it's Denny O'Neil and stuff, it was a bit slower.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, with the DC app, there's just lots of stuff I want to read. The DC app is changing. Did we talk about it? It's becoming DC Infinity.
Yeah,
I think we mentioned it last week.
Yep.
Subscription, being able to hop on for a year subscription starts next week, basically in October. They said so. I'll be doing that because there's lots of stuff, a lot of DC series I want to read.
Yeah.
Marvel wise, I've been batting it back and forth to just go back to X-Men 1.
Yeah.
But also I need to read Ms. Marvel 2 and other stuff. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna read some Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read maybe some Nova. I might get into the Nova, which I have not read before.
Oh, like the kid.
Yeah.
The new kid. Yeah. I was reading a bunch of Nova from like the post Civil War era. I don't know if I'm in there yet at like the new Nova. I might be. So. Yeah.
I'm also planning to read some 90s Catwoman, the 1993 series. That series runs about 93 issues, I want to say. So that's a lot of.
That's the one that really, kept going. But then Ed Brubaker came over and like everybody was like, you gotta read Ed Brubaker's Catwoman, man.
Yeah, it's not actually very collected. I mean, there was I read one collection from it a long time ago, and now they just in the last several years now they put out 2 volumes that cover maybe the first 25 issues. But there's like 80, like I said, like 90, something like that.
Careful, man! You read enough of these auxiliary Bat titles, you're gonna have to read Batman: No Man's Land at some point.
No, you're right. But this it's interesting because Catwoman's origin, I feel like, is not. It's fluid, you know what I mean? Like every time they do it, it's like maybe she's a Falcone, but this series establishes her as Cuban American. Like her mother was a Cuban immigrant, and actually in the new post the wedding, the new Catwoman series brought back this version of the characters back in. So it's kind of reestablishing these Cuban roots for Catwoman. But so I'm gonna pick up that and see what I think. I know people are really down on the whole purple suit Catwoman. I like it. I always like that outfit.
Sure.
I think that's kind of a cool one. But anyway,
she's a cat. She's a kitty cat.
That's what I've got planning. You know what I didn't mention? I rewatched Scott Pilgrim last night.
I know,
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Something.
Yeah. And here's why. Because my wife and I watched. There's a charity thing that's Father of the Bride Part 3-ish.
Yeah.
Is what it's called. Kieran Culkin is in that. He plays the young son, the same character I played when I did it in Dinner Theater, and then you and I did a production. Yeah,
Ben.
Then you and I did a Father. Well, his name is Matt in this movie, but you know what I'm saying. You and I did this play together, where you were the father. There's a lot of Father of the Bride connections here.
Sure.
My wife and I watched Part 3, which has Kieran Culkin, who plays Wallace in Scott Pilgrim.
Right.
And we were like, man. And so we just put Scott Pilgrim in and watched it out of nowhere. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
Nobody's arguing with you. Everybody loves it.
I'm a huge fan of Arrested Development, but I feel like Michael Cera is at his peak in Scott Pilgrim. He's just perfect. I got no complaints.
Would not say I care for Michael Cera in general, but I like Scott Pilgrim and Michael Cera in it. But yeah,
everybody is in it too.
Yeah.
Brie Larson's there, Brandon Routh, I mean, a lot of characters who went on to play superheroes.
Yeah.
Like Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress, and who is it? Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Captain America, what's his name?
Chris Evans.
Yeah. Lots of people. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just it also made me wonder whatever happened to Jason Schwartzman?
He still does stuff? No, he's still doing stuff.
Schwartzman?
Jason Schwartzman is in no need of work.
Okay.
So his shtick is still strong, I think.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm a fan. I like him. I feel like before we started rolling, we were talking about this Father of the Bride thing and Steve Martin. One thing I love Jason Schwartzman is Shop Girl with Steve Martin, based on Steve Martin's novel. He's great in that. Love that movie.
Is Shop Girl Sofia Coppola film?
I don't think so.
All right. He was in Isle of Dogs.
How about this
in
new?
2018, he was in between two firms. What? Sorry.
Godfather. Have you heard about this new Godfather?
Pass.
You don't care?
Pass.
I've never seen Godfather 3. And they're
yeah.
redoing this Godfather 3 thing. I don't know. I'll probably watch it.
The nice things I say about the Godfather movies are because I don't want to fight with people who love the Godfather.
I don't really care about Godfather 2. I know that's an unpopular opinion. I think 1 is great. And I'd be kind of interested to see like a remix of number 3, just because I've never seen the original.
Yeah, a remix. Did you see that the Scott Pilgrim game is coming back to shops?
I did hear that. Yeah,
it's one of those situations where you could buy Scott Pilgrim the game, and people really liked it and thought it was really cool, and then because of licensing, it was removed, and people who even had bought it couldn't download it anymore. And
really?
it's been an example of how like temporary our digital purchases are in this world, and how people like, oh, don't I remember reading one tweet where somebody was said like, you shouldn't emulate games, you shouldn't pirate things, and somebody's like, B word, I bought Scott Pilgrim 5 years ago and I can't play it, and it's just kind of like, but anyways, the game's coming back, and
this is why people make fun of me for still having DVDs, but man, you know what?
I've heard people like, you still buy digital media? I was like, yeah, and you know what? I don't care which streaming service has Jurassic Park. I literally just watched Jurassic Park 2 days ago.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah,
and,
still good.
And you and I and my son started Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous over on Netflix.
Boy,
so
I am being nice during that show.
Yeah.
If you can't tell.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it.
So yeah, I never played the Scott Pilgrim game, so that'd be fun.
Me neither. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, it's Banned Book Week, Nick.
Yes, it is.
This is the week we celebrate books being banned. No, it's the year
you're reading it wrong.
It's the time of year where we look at books that have been banned and talk about how stupid it is to ban books. And also do the exact opposite of what those people who ban these books do and promote them. So,
That's right.
Nick, you found this list. You want to talk about this list?
Oh, sure. So, Eric and I, are librarians. It's in our blood. And we just did a whole episode over on the All the Books Show, which is the podcast we do together for the David A. Howe Public Library, on the most challenged books they're books that were listed in 2019 as the most challenged books.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of information on this you can find at the American Library Association's website, ala.org, or bannedbooksweek.org has a lot of interesting fun facts. Mm-hmm. Not fun, but helpful facts.
Or yourmama.org.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think you should go to that. I don't think people should go to that website.
Well, it's a .org. I think you're okay.
That's true.
Yourmama.edu is probably safer than yourmama.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so looking at bannedbooksweek.org, we cover the list of... Are
you a single mom wanting to go back to college? Check out yourmama.edu.
Again, please don't do that. We covered regular prose fiction on the All the Books Show, but we were just kind of looking over the list here of the challenged and banned comics according to Banned Book Week. So yeah, take it away, man.
Hold on. Yomama.edu.
Oh, no. This is happening in real time.
I just want to say .edu.
I don't want to be a part of it.
Looks like it's just jokes. Looks like it's just a joke of your mama jokes. All right, hold on then. Hold on. We can't enter your Oh, you entered them? No. Anyways, I'm out of here.
Okay.
What do we do? We're listing the comics that are on here, which is fun. So it's not like libraries are banning these books. These are books that are challenged by people, and they tend to be geared towards teens, young as well, like younger than that. But you get a lot of like things that are geared to the YA audiences, and then parents are like, not in my school library.
Exactly.
No way is my kid gonna read about mockingbirds. Not mockingbirds. The birds. What's the birds one? Don't kill a mockingbird.
Yeah.
To Kill a Mockingbird?
To Kill a Mockingbird, yeah.
Why does that not seem right? I keep saying it. To Kill a Mockingbird.
I don't know.
Anyway, the first one on here is Assassination Classroom, which is a manga.
All right.
By Yasui Matsui. It was pulled from a school library on Staten Island over parental objections to the titles and themes. There's some scantily clad characters in this.
Okay.
But you know what? Incredibly popular series. It's fun. It's about an alien teacher who is like, kids, you have a chance to kill me. If you don't kill me in like a year or so, I'm going to destroy the planet. My wife loved this.
Natural. Okay.
Yeah. My wife loved this. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know. Parental advisory is suggested or something, I guess.
All right.
So, Assassination Classroom. We talked about this. This also shows up on banned books. Drama by Raina Telgemeier, mainly because there's a play and two boys kiss in the play, and one of them is gay and the other one isn't sure if he is or not.
Right.
And they have a discussion about that afterwards, and because of that, it has been challenged and banned at times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun. It's the story's about the main character. She likes being the backstage, like working backstage at the school play. She doesn't want to be on stage, but she has a lot of fun doing the curtains and the set design and all that stuff. That's her thing.
I actually haven't read this. The only Raina Telgemeier stuff that I've read was Ghosts, which I thought was pretty good. It's a good Halloween read. I would put on my Halloween reading list. And I also really like her X-Men manga, which is only one volume.
Yeah, that was fun.
I would love to have followed that for longer. I thought that was really cool, but it's only the one volume. But I have not read Drama, so I don't know.
Alison Bechdel's Fun Home, a family tragicomic. I haven't read. Gosh, do you have it at the library? I think you do.
Not. Maybe I don't recognize this at all.
All right. No, it's been on my list to read forever, and I just I didn't pick it up. I think we do. You have it, but I think it's in the adult section. I think it was actually donated. It tends to be one that I think you read if you take like a graphic novel course in college.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Or anything. I don't understand this. I need this explained to me. The Graveyard Book graphic novel for violent imagery. A boy raised by a ghost and his event. I don't understand it. The Graveyard Book is a great book. It can be kept in the kids section, in the teen section. Really choked me up at the end.
Have you read the graphic novel?
I haven't read the graphic novel.
Okay, but I think it's a couple of volumes.
I read the book.
Okay.
Got me at the end. I thought I was gonna make it, and then at the end, somebody's like, "I'm so proud of you." I'm like, "It's hard growing up." Lumberjanes. This is the only time I've seen Lumberjanes.
Yeah.
This one seems specific. The Infernal Compass. There are two. I mean, this whole series is kind of like a flagship comic for the LGBTQ plus community because it has characters of all different backgrounds. And the comic is fun. Lumberjanes is a lot of fun, but I actually was not even aware of the Infernal Compass. I think it's been a while since I've read. I think I read like the first 5 volumes.
Yeah, I don't think I got that far, but I liked what I read.
Claiming temporary changes the library as well as what?
I think it just comes down to
an event with the author.
Yeah.
And transgender rights advocate Leah Sturgis was canceled 2 hours before they were supposed to be there. Reversal of the wow.
Like with many of these, like we found with the traditional prose books, it often comes down to if books have LGBTQIA plus content, they tend to get flagged on the list.
I didn't get the cover? I thought I got the cover for Persepolis. Anyways, Persepolis is on the list. Persepolis is great. Though I don't think I ever finished. I don't think I ever read Volume 2. I think I read Volume 1 when I was reading this. I'm like, I think, because I had it in 2 volumes. But I think most of the time now they're collected in one big volume.
I honestly can't remember if I've read this or not. I saw the movie, which was great, but...
Stuck in the Middle. 17 stories from Unpleasant Age. Sure. Selected. The book has been banned in most reasons. Oklahoma pulled the book from library shelves after one parent called it trash and complained of vulgarity, sexual references, and drug use in some stories. Yeah, I'm sure they're a... well, I won't say it, but I'm sure they're divorced.
Yikes.
Sword Art Online. And boy, I've never been able to say it. Ansrad. My wife got really into this anime. She actually continued it after I dropped off. I watched like the first season with her, or like the first half, but she kept going. Who found both language and drawings in the book. Challenged by a middle school teacher who found the drawings in the book inappropriate. The images perturbed the student. Report involved a female character wearing underwear and sharing a bed with a male character. Yeah, that's a completely foreign aspect of life to teens. They're not even aware of that. So, The Walking Dead has been here. I'm sure it's for violent imagery, but there's also a lot of sexual things in here.
Oh, okay.
Why would who banned it? I guess this is one of those things where I'm like, well, this isn't geared towards teens.
Yeah.
So, this is a adult graphic. It's interesting that you'd even put it on a ban list, unless this says onto campus. Where was this? Wallace School District of Silverton, Ohio banned The Walking Dead concerns. A former teacher investigations into the series. Oh my gosh, do you have nothing to do? This is.
That kind of seems like it.
Imagine if we had prepared our students to be able to be taught remotely for all the years we were banning books. Yeah. Imagine if at half that energy you put into investigating the Walking Dead graphic novel series, into figuring out how to remotely teach kids. So if we ever had to, it wouldn't be a complete... Oh boy, I almost swore. The Watchmen. Watchmen's on here.
Oh, okay.
Who's putting this in a kid's library? Like, all right, you can read Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Alan Moore and Dave Gibson's Watchmen. Anyway, I'm your school librarian. I'm very bad at my job. I shouldn't be judging these people. Boy, Bad Book Week just really makes me mad.
I know, it really does. It really does.
Has been praised by... What? I skipped one.
Yeah, you skipped This One Summer.
Oh, I did. This One Summer. Yeah, This One Summer is a great one. It's one of those just like it's hard growing up stories. Why yielded an unforeseen negative increased calls the Caldecott. It won the Caldecott.
No, it was on the short list.
Yeah.
It was shortlisted to win the Caldecott. The first graphic novel to be, I should say.
7th most challenged title of 2018.
I've not read this, but Mirko Tamaki's Supergirl story, I want to think it's just called Being Super, is great. I love it.
This is about a girl just realizing she's growing a little distant from her friend, and her mom is going through a lot of depression, and so it deals with serious issues, but you wouldn't ban this. Oh my gosh, People who need people are the luckiest people in the world.
That's true. Well, you can find, again, more information
Wait, we didn't talk about Watchmen.
.org and ALA.org. Go ahead, Watchmen. You did. You talked a lot about Watchmen. But let's do it.
I did that bit about this dumb person banning it. I was trying to find why it was banned. Led it to be challenged in school libraries. I just don't know what...
It's sexual and graphic.
Yeah, what 5th grade librarian is getting Watchmen? Anyway. Dumb people all around.
But I think that it's a common misunderstanding. I think with comic books that people just assume,
oh,
it's a comic book, it's for children.
I have been to small libraries where they just have.
This isn't for children.
Yeah, the graphic novel section is in the kids section.
Did you ever watch the show? By the way, Watchmen, the show?
No, we have HBO Max, but it's not on Roku. And I tell you what, the extra step of plugging in the laptop, looking up the show, hitting play, and then sitting down. It's so discouraging because then when the show's over, I have to get up.
You don't have any modern gaming systems that you could watch it on, like an Xbox or something.
No, I know that would that'd solve it. But the next one we'd get if we got anything would be a Switch, and I don't think you can watch HBO Max on Switch.
That's true. So probably not. No, but you know what? I'm still loving Yoshi's Crafted World. Just gonna toss that out there. It's a good time.
All right. Yeah.
It's a good time. Maybe the game came out in 1998. I don't know, but I love it. It's very good. All right, you got a Batman comic to share this week?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
okay.
No,
I'll put a pin in it.
All right, I'll put a pin in it.
We can save it for next week.
I'll put a specifically designated bat pin in it.
All right. Yeah, next week then we'll be back with quarter bins and Batman picks.
Yeah, and Batman pins.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
When things start falling apart in a way that isn't the usual, I get very chatty, but not in a constructive way that leads us to where we need to get to.
I see.
And I could probably say that is because I'm thinking of what I'm going to say as I'm saying it, so I'm just in a spot where I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
I bought this Superman action figure recently.
Hey.
Do you like him?
Yeah, it's fun. Keep going.
He's from the Batman. Batman Day and everything. My son and I have been rewatching the Batman. I read some of the Batman Strikes. The comic book again. I love the show. It's so good. I'm sad that people don't like it more. Yeah. And I love this Superman. It's George Newbern voices Superman again. And I had a Batman, I had a Batgirl, but I never tracked down this Superman. So I found one on eBay and I remedied that. Look at him. Hey, he's like, "What? Yeah. I don't want to be on a team with you. I'm Superman. Bye."
Is that how Superman's like in that show?
Well, it starts that way. He doesn't
Okay.
want to he doesn't want to trust Batman. He doesn't want to be on a team with Batman, and then he kind of comes around.
And Batman's all like, "You need to let people in."
Boy, I'll tell you what. Lego Batman 3 is another one where Superman gets taken over and is evil, and I'm just like, can we just have something where Superman is not the villain? Just something.
That's his default. Everybody is always thinking they're being so edgy with the evil Superman and the red eyes Superman. It's like, okay, well, that's all he does. It's like putting Spider-Man in the black suit. Like, I'm doing something you've never seen before.
Hey, I'm wearing this George Reeves Superman shirt.
Hey, all right.
Right?
I was going to say I bought a Marvel Avengers Mad Libs.
Oh, that's fun.
Can I read a very funny line that happened in this one?
Sure.
So the plane is flipping around and everything, and it says, The Black Widow wrapped her arms around a grandmother, and Hawkeye shot a suction cup cat and rope at the wall. And you know what's fun? When I read suction cup cat, when I read suction cup cat, I'm just thinking he's got those old Garfields that you saw in Cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it. Next week I'm going to read some comics. This week I'm going to read some comics.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's a promise.
All right.
That's the promise I make to you.
Okay.
Happy
Halloween. All right.
Month coming.
So is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it for this week?
Yeah. Now who doesn't know how to end the show? This show is brought to you by... Oh, wait. That's not it. Yes, it is. This show was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. You can find more about the show notes like it at the network's website, radiomeanwhile.com. You can find Nick at...
Oh, you can find me over on the All the Book Show, Twitter at All the Book Show.
Yeah. And you can find me at Dusk vs. Tweet. I mean, if you're watching this on Twitch, this is a good place to find me as well. Yeah. And if you're watching this on YouTube, same thing.
I should mention I also host with Kendra 9021 Here We Go for the Radio Meanwhile Network. We're just closing down on season 3, and we're going to do the Buffy the Vampire Halloween special. So click over to that. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So long, my friend.
Bye.